Fandom Menace isn't just angry males, it's toxic femininity brought to you by Midnight's Edge After Dark. That's right, we're back again on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday at 7 Central, you get to hear from the great ladies from the Fandom Menace. With us, as always, is Miss Sarcastic Nerd. How are you today?
I'm all right.
Mary Jade, and of course, Mary Mayhem. Hello, ladies.
Hi, Tom.
Hi,
Tom.
I kind of cut that out from the start. But
Yes,
yeah,
you did.
sadly, Megs is at an appointment, so she wasn't able to join us tonight. But in her place, we always have the fun and awesome Mara Jade. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Busy
So,
at
Mary,
work.
how are you? Oh, yeah. What was that?
I was going to say busy at work, but all's good.
Oh, God. Yeah. Today was a hell of a day, I tell you. Mary, how are you doing?
Oh, you know me. I'm just chugging right along, Tom.
Oh, that's awesome. What have you got in store for us today?
Oh, we have a plethora of topics this evening. You actually dug this up because, as far as I can tell, none of us ladies here on this panel had even heard about this this movie that you dug up. I believe it's called the Kitchen. Kitchen.
I saw
right?
one trailer for it. One trailer. That's it.
One trailer. Not that I
One
was
trailer.
interested in it by any stretch of the imagination, because I don't know that I've ever fantasized about being a mobster. But yeah, it was kind of ridiculous. You want me to go ahead and pull up the article here?
I got her, but yeah, you can if you want to.
Okay, let me go ahead and
Either or works for me.
all right, let me pull it up here. Screen share. Probably should have had this ready beforehand.
Oh, good. I had one ready too.
My text alert went off and it didn't show up registered.
And I did see a trailer for this, whatever movie it was I saw last. I can't even remember now.
Well, sorry, Rushaholic. That's my light, and I can't do much. That's my overhead light.
Oh, yeah. Hey, we're just happy Mara's here to join us tonight. Super glad. And isn't she lovely, guys?
Yes, don't we have a very lovely panel?
We do what we can.
The lens flare kind of makes her look like an angel.
It just makes her like JJ.
Yes. We're better than JJ, so.
All that schnaz. And let me throw a link up here real quick. I'm trying to keep links up for everybody because these beautiful ladies deserve a sub from you guys. So trying to get links up, and we'll go ahead and read through this article real quick. So the kitchen. This is I'd never even heard of it. Like I said, why audience rejected a serious Melissa McCarthy and Tiffany Haddish movie. The Kitchen couldn't take the heat. I see what you did there. Sorry. Burned by negative reviews and pitched competition, Warner Brothers, a New Line's heist thriller starring Melissa McCarthy, Tiffany Haddish, and Elizabeth Moss, opened with a dismal $5.5 million when it debuted in 2,765 theaters. The people who did venture out to see the film this weekend weren't at all that enthused, giving it a mediocre B- cinema score, signaling that word of mouth might not bode well for The Kitchen in weeks to come. Warner Brothers knew this was going to be a tough sell, as they didn't support The Kitchen like a big summer blockbuster from the get-go, said Jeff Bach, a box office analyst and exhibitor relations. Case in point, they have Blinded by the Light opening this weekend, just a week after The Kitchen. Studios usually don't run films on a conveyor belt unless they're trying to move it in and out of the public eye as quickly as possible. So The Kitchen, with a price tag around $38 million, represents yet another mid-budget movie that has struggled to punch up against blockbusters that continue to dominate multiplexes. It's becoming tougher for studios to sell audiences on anything that feels like it could be seen on Netflix. The rated R movie, which debuted against... Sorry, lost my spot. This is why I need a new mouse.
No worries.
The rated R movie, which debuted against 4 other nationwide releases, also faced headwinds from Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is still drawing adults to theaters. However, modest production and marketing fees do help limit any potential damage for the studio. I've been doing this a very long time, and I've never seen a gap between the movies that work and and the movies that don't, said Jeff Goldstein, Warner Brothers president of domestic distribution. It's a cautionary time for us as we greenlight movies. He adds, in the case of this story, we took bold choices that didn't pan out for us. I don't know that I would agree with that, but some of those bold choices include casting. Critics praised the leading ladies, but having the comedic powerhouse like McCarthy and Haddish play against type by taking on serious roles proved to be a lot to ask of audiences, who were still expecting something lighter from the two funny women. The movie marks a career low for both Haddish and McCarthy, which is saying something considering the latter starred in last year's Muppets Gone Wild train wreck, Happy Time Murders. The Kitchen was criticized for a jumbled plot that fell back on mobster cliches. I think audiences are accustomed to seeing comedic actors play it straight. However, that doesn't mean that those efforts have necessarily been successful at the box office, Bach said. Whenever there are a handful of new releases over any given weekend, there are bound to be box office casualties. It also bore striking resemblance, and this is actually important, to the plot of Widows, Fox's gritty female-fronted mob drama. Perhaps it should have been a red flag that despite solid reviews and a starry cast, Widows failed to break at the box office and ended its run with $76 million globally off a $42 million budget. In the words of Variety's chief film critic Owen Gleiberman, The Kitchen was just like Widows, except not as good. The similarity to Widows was certainly a drawback, Bach said, adding all the gun violence issues in the media may have also played a part. Escapism is an essential draw for audiences, and it's possible to hit just too close to home. Several more August releases, including Warner Brothers' musical rom-com Blinded by the Light, Universal's raunchy comedy Good Boys, and Annapurna's adaptation of the novel Where Do You Go?, Bernadette, will continue to test audiences' hunger for mid-budget fare. Let's hope next time they bring their appetite. So.
All right. Well, before we get into this and break it down, we do have one $2 super chat from Deranged Lunatic. He wants to know what Mrs. having for supper. That lucky little lady is having Taco Bell, and I hate her for it.
Chicken quesadilla. So what are we going to touch on first? The horrible puns in this article.
Horrible.
Yeah. Go ahead, ladies. Rip it apart.
Huh.
Well, I'll let you guys start because or unless you want, how do you want to do this? So I'm happy to start if you want me to, but
I've not heard of this movie. I have not heard of it. I couldn't tell you what it's about. I don't know.
It's basically what are their husbands in jail or something, and then they take over their mob empire or something. I only saw one trailer for this movie, and I don't know. For lack of a better word, like the marketing was poor for this film. And the fact that it was poor probably says that they weren't banking on it being successful at all.
Mm-hmm.
So
I couldn't agree with that more. Well, and not only that, I'm not really sure who they thought they were who they would have even marketed this towards. None of it interests me.
No, I mean, the actresses, it's just that it's almost like they're banking on women primarily to see it just because it's basically fronted by women, as if that's our criteria whenever we go see a film. And that's what I have an issue with Hollywood. They feel like if they give what they consider strong female leads, it's automatically going to make women flock to that movie. And I'm at a point where I'm like, no, I have to be engaged in the story. And if you can't sell me with the trailer, I'm not going to go see a movie. I'm not wasting the money for a ticket plus the concessions to sit for 2.5 hours in a film that I have no desire to see.
Mm-hmm. Well, when's the last time you heard about a little girl sitting there fantasizing about being a mobster? I'm just saying, something like that needs to be relatively funny and entertaining for it to work, I think. Mm-hmm. And I don't see any reason. And if you're going to cast Melissa McCarthy in something like this, you really ought to go ahead and play to her strengths. I'm not sitting here trying to watch women become mobsters. I'm just doing my best to try to enjoy a story for what it is. And if you're not giving me something that's engaging to me or hits home with me or resonates with me in some way, then I'm not going to go out of my way to see it. And you didn't market it to me. You didn't do anything to bring this out of the woodwork. This just looks like another female empowerment movie to me. oh, hey, the
Yeah.
husbands. And I actually read the review that you had posted for it, Tom, and it looked like essentially what he was saying was that there was no real heart or soul in this movie. This was just basically a ripoff of The Widows, right? To begin with.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then even on top of that, you've got this sort of caricature of a bad guy who's basically, bad man, right? Like he's a bad man and trying to hold down the women. That these women were essentially like their husbands had gone away, they needed help, they were supposed to be supported by the mob. He didn't do that, right? He didn't take care of these women, the mob boss, like he was supposed to, like he had promised to, because he basically has no care or concern for women. And so the women had to become strong and empowered and take care of themselves. But that women don't. We'll go get a job. We're not going to become a
Whoever wrote this movie watched Goodfellas.
No, at least I haven't
Uh,
seen Widows yet, but at least
Yeah.
that plot almost to a point made sense because that in that point basically they're backed into a corner by another I guess mob boss who their husband stole money from. So when you have that element where you're forced into it, like basically a life or death situation versus I'm going to stick it to the man. In this case, the mob boss is supposed to take care of me. I don't think it really resonates as well with audiences as Widows did. When it's a simple, kind of revenge tale slash women being badass and taking over what their husbands did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what I was trying to say was, like, it's like whoever wrote this movie watched Goodfellas, and they took the one little scene where when the main character by Ray Liotta or whatever is in jail, and his wife's all upset
Minister
because she's
Stanley?
not getting the help that she's supposed to be getting, when the mob's supposed to be all about family and helping family and all that kind of shit, and she gets pissed off. So they took that one little element and made a whole movie about it, basically. And like, well, what would these women do? Which,
Anybody
okay,
hear me?
yeah, it might be an interesting idea. And it didn't even say, I might even remember if it said it was based on a true story too. But Mary or Miss, you want to look like you want to say something?
Well, I was wanted to say, like, I feel bad for Melissa McCarthy because she's been typecasted, basically. She's been completely typecasted as this really silly character.
I don't think she cares. I think she cashes the checks just like everybody else. To be honest with you, Mark C though had a super chat, $5. Says,
Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear
Okay, I
you.
just want to make sure my mic didn't stop working.
No,
Um,
the kitchen would have been
okay.
better if it
Yeah,
had a
but Melissa
dude in a red
McCarthy's
suit.
basically been typecast, and I think that's an issue
don't think she
most
can hear us.
comedians face because
Yeah.
now you're basically typecasting yourself to with audiences that they can't see you doing anything serious, like with Jim Carrey.
Mara, love, can you hear Tom?
No.
Tom, will you say something to make sure she can?
She might not be able to hear me because I was lower than you guys. That's
Okay,
possible.
Can you hear him?
Yeah. You can't hear him. Okay, he was in the middle of reading a super chat, love.
All right, that's all right.
I can't hear him.
Yeah,
Sorry.
1 second, Mara.
the kitchen would have been better if it had a dude in a red suit and a mask with horns. Like Daredevil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've been ducking out so you guys can have the spotlight anyway, and I'm gonna do that. So here we go.
Yeah, no, Miss was actually making a really good point on that earlier. You were talking about like these movies, they don't resonate with women, and like at least give us something we can meme, right? You were saying something about that earlier.
A lot of the movies that are female driven from like the 80s or I got food in my mouth. You really want to present me right now? Are quotable. They're memeable, I guess is another way to put it. You see something and you think about that movie. A lot of the movies that have been coming out recently that try to have the same thing about them, you can't quote them. There's nothing like, what do you think of? What thing from that movie does it inspire you to walk around quoting it at your friends or even just to yourself because you can't control yourself when you see it?
Mm-hmm.
These movies have not attracted us at all.
Yeah,
to go see them.
We were making jokes about the whole we wear pink on Wednesdays, right? Like why do us as women sit here and be like, well, then you can't sit with us. So like we sit, talk about things like Mean Girls. because we all knew those chicks when we were kids, right? We all knew those chicks. It resonates with us. We can sit there and laugh at that. But how many women are sitting around going, yeah, I remember the days when I was a mobster. Yeah, totally. No, we don't. That's a guy thing. That's a guy thing, honey. We don't care.
Thing the Godfather. Marlon.
You're skipping out, Mara. Can you pop out and pop back in for us, love? Maybe we can reset the connection.
Okay.
Or Mara. Yeah, let's get Mara out and back in here in just a second.
Yeah, I was never really interested in the Godfather movies. Thought my phone was ringing. I haven't seen them. I liked Goodfellas, and I liked shit. What's that movie? I can't remember the movie.
Well, there are loads of female movies that are
Usual Suspects.
Usual Suspects. I never got into those either, though. Like, it's not a secret. I'm sitting here, I have my boobs firmly in place on my chest. I don't care. I don't care. Like, I'll watch a movie like that with a guy if I feel the need to, but mostly it's just a level of placating when it comes to being around men and watching sort of men fare or whatever. I don't want a woman to sit in the place of what it is that a man would do. That's not going to automatically make it interesting to me. Oh, hey, there's boobs on screen. Must be for me. Like, that's not how this works.
Well, like, think of a good movie about, like, powerful women. I think, I can't remember what it was called. It had Kate Blanchett. Do you remember what movie I'm talking about, Tom? With Tom Jones? I think it's Tom Jones. Is it Tom
Jones? Tom Jones is a singer, so
yeah, wrong Tom, wrong other Tom. But it had Kate Blanchett in it. It was called something like Lost or Forgotten, or I can't remember. It was a Western thing, and her daughters were taken to become slaves. And her father, the what?
The Missing with Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones. There we go.
That's yes.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, The Missing.
So you're close. You said Tom Jones, so you just missed the Tommy Lee part.
Tommy Lee Jones.
There you go. So you're close.
Tommy Lee Jones. With Tommy Lee Jones, have you seen that, Mary? The Missing?
I haven't. No. Like, you know me. I'm just like, if it's a bang bang gun, I don't care.
But the situation that she is in is very unique, and it makes sense that she becomes this badass sort of, I don't want to say gunslinger. She wasn't exactly a gunslinger, but her father went with her to go find her daughters who were taken, and she became this tough badass chick. And because of the time she was in, and because of the situation and who she was as a person, she became a badass. And you related with her. You related with her situation, and and it wasn't like masculine in a sense. It was
like
just
ham-fisted in or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with these situations is they feel so ham-fisted. They just shove women into these roles because it's a woman, right? So it's a woman. It must somehow make sense. If you shove this woman into this role, then that automatically makes it good. I don't like this whole trying to make women masculine or something like that. Like they do this on a regular basis where they take women and they shove them into roles because that's empowering for women, right? Like if you just take a woman and shove her into a role that's stereotypically a male role, then that somehow is empowering to a woman. No, you have to make it resonate with us on a personal level. Otherwise, our interest is not there.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. To Hollywood nowadays, you can't be strong and feminine. Basically, it's whatever they consider strong. They look at the masculine qualities, such as the physically imposing, assertiveness and things like that, without taking into account that there are different levels of strength and women are strong in their own rights. So if you say, well, I'm feminine as well, that's a juxtaposition for them, and it's almost mutually exclusive with Hollywood now.
Mhm.
You can't be both to them.
Yeah, that's the weird part, is that they treat femininity as though it's some kind of plague, some kind of disease, and that you can't be both feminine and masculine at the same time. They treat it like it's something to be ashamed of. I'm sorry, but as a woman, I will absolutely sit there and laugh my butt off at Clueless because it's funny and it's female
Yeah.
humor and I relate to it, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't get it. I don't really understand what they thought was going to happen here.
I don't know. I mean, as I said, the fact that I only saw one trailer and just about no other marketing for this movie, it does not bode well.
Mhm.
And it's like the article pointed out, it's almost like the studios were banking on it to fail.
Yeah. They knew. They knew we didn't care.
I'm trying to think of the difference, the difference between why did this movie be like and then other movies are like, yeah, I totally watched that, with female roles taking on certain situations that we can actually
I would say Kill Bill work when this doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Well, I honestly feel like the motivating factor that they gave Kill Bill was an inherently resonated with women, and that's a mama. Don't fuck with her baby, right? Like you fuck with a woman's baby, and yeah, she'll murder you. That's
well, not only that, her character changes because the dynamic changes. At first, she's just out for revenge. Then she finds out that her baby's still alive at the end.
Yes.
So it was like a totally different situation then. But yeah, I think you guys have sufficiently brought up the point here, and that is they need to make more movies that women are interested in, and not just movies that are geared towards women that they're like, here, you'll love this and like it because we say so. And you guys brought up some great examples, and we did before the show. Like I said, where's all the great female-driven or female-oriented films that came out of the 80s and 90s, like Pretty in Pink or 16 Candles, or what was some of the other ones I brought? The Craft, and you guys brought up Clueless and Mean Girls and stuff like that already too. And there's a lot of movies that are under that chick flick banner, but they're still decent films on their own, in their own right anyway. So I think that's kind of the point, is that hello Stig, is that a lot of these movies just aren't gearing towards the audience they should be, and a movie like Kill Bill wasn't even really technically geared towards women. It was just, it had a very strong female character.
The same with Alien.
Well defined. Yeah, and Alien is another great example of that.
Yeah. Well, and Alien sort of did a twist on the first one. You didn't expect it to be her, right? She's in this survival situation where it's do or die, right?
That's what it is, though. It's a situation that drives the character. It shouldn't be just a random drive that they have with really no reason behind it. Like, I don't know what this movie's about. I don't know anything about it. But it's like, okay, your husband's from the mafia have been arrested, so now you're gonna do what? Grab guns and kill people? Why?
No. And bringing up Ripley was originally going to be a male character. Sigourney Weaver proved that she was the best for the role simply because she is a great actress. And Ridley Scott saw that and said, you know what? I'm going to change. And it worked. It wasn't agenda driven. It wasn't identity politics driven. It was just, she's the best for the part.
Actually, more so than that, I believe every character in that script was written to be interchangeable. That's why their names are kind of like ambiguous, like all of them. So you could make it any which way. They when they wrote the script, they're like, it didn't matter which, they could have been male or female.
But at least in the second film, they went about acknowledging her femininity by writing in this sort of maternal instinct, right? Like,
with her losing her daughter.
Yeah.
If you watch the extended cut, I think that's in it, and then finding Newt later on, which makes that more poignant too.
Yeah, they didn't ignore her femininity in the second film, which I think heightened the experience.
What we were saying, long as her motivation became Mama Bear coming out. So when she confronted the alien,
here's a good example then, if you want to talk about that. Yeah, Sarah Connor. What they're going to do to her character now? Because if they really go through with what this plot's supposed to be, they've basically done to Sarah Connor what they're doing in Star Trek by negating, Nichelle Nichols' contribution to the franchise by saying Sarah Connor doesn't fucking matter anymore. John Connor doesn't matter anymore. By doing that, you're taking one of the greatest female heroines in cinema history with Sarah Connor and taking her down to the lower level and just saying she doesn't fucking matter, just so you can make some female the hero of the future. Is that really what it was? What was it worth it for that? If that's the case, I mean,
well,
they're taking her
I guess
motivation.
time will tell when it's released, and it doesn't do as well because now you've turned off a majority of the fan base by saying, well, we're going to have this, we're going to retcon, we're going to completely do away with Terminator 3 and it's retcon Terminator 2 in a way by killing off John Connor as a kid, which takes away Sarah Connor's motivation. So what motivation does she have to protect this woman?
none other than stupidity and revenge.
I can understand her.
This other female Terminator. Why does she trust them? Because they're women? It doesn't make any sense.
Banana. That's as good a reason as any. Banana.
Oh yeah. If what we've heard is true about this upcoming movie, it is going to be worse than any Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation, Terminator Sega Genesis, all just so they could make this new
woke crap.
Yeah, this new lady the future, because they can't have John Connor be the future. Because then they didn't stop to think that you're taking away Sarah Connor's motivation, as Mara just said, of the fact that she's the world's best badass mom there ever was, because she would do anything to protect her son.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're putting women in this category, and it's annoying. It's annoying they're like, women have to be this now. Women can't be individuals. Women aren't allowed to be individuals. They have to be this. They have to be this because this is how things should be. They're better than men. They're better than everybody. Women are amazing. They can do all these amazing masculine things. They're not even women anymore. They're these alien species. It's not funny. It's not interesting. Women are individuals, and they should be able to be related to as individuals making those decisions.
Yeah, and whatever happened to acknowledging the fact that women are, in fact, women.
Yeah,
or that
we're different.
We don't have, that we don't have a hive mind. And I love how the one side is all about pro-choice, but if I say something like, well, I choose to stay home and take care of my family. Well, no, you're setting women back 100 years. Like, you might as well get rid of the suffrage movement. So
we're not allowed to be women anymore. That we're not allowed to be feminine. We're not allowed to lean on masculine people in any way. We have to suffer to get through and get their agenda forward. And it's hurting them more than it's hurting us.
Yeah. I know we have another topic. We have a few more topics, and I know you've got one geared up for us, Miss, about the layoffs.
Yeah.
So
let me open the article.
I think Tom's getting our article pulled up for us.
He's getting it? Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to lead into that.
Okay, so Disney has basically failed at their Galaxy's Edge crap that they put forward, and no one is going to see it. And because no one is going to see it, they have cut their employees' hours to avoid having to pay them so they can keep Galaxy's Edge up, I guess, for the illusion that Galaxy's Edge is doing well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you want to read
and it's ridiculous.
Did you want to read the article?
It's loading. It's loading.
Here, I've got it.
When I don't look at a tab for a long amount of time, it loads.
If you want, I can pull it up here if you want me to read it, or if you have it.
You can read it.
Okay.
You can read it. We don't want to wait forever.
All right. So Disneyland reportedly cuts employee hours due to low Star Wars Galaxy's Edge attendance. One little theme park, and everybody gets their hours cut. Sorry. The hype surrounding the launch of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge expansion is in Disneyland this summer couldn't have been any bigger, which is why it's so incredibly surprising to see that the new attraction hasn't been a massive hit. I don't know why you find that surprising. Sorry. Disneyland attendance saw a decline last quarter. According to the recent Disney earnings call with CEO Bob Iger, and the opening of Galaxy Edge hasn't helped. In fact, it may actually be hurting the park just a bit, as people have decided to stay away entirely to avoid the crowds. That, coupled with some unfortunate blackout date decisions made by Disney parks, has led to lower attendance, which means less hours for employees that work there.
I love how they're making excuses. Like, the only reason people aren't going is because of the crowds.
Oh, yeah, the non-existent crowds.
What crowds?
So now there's
The
nobody.
areas
Everybody wants to avoid crowds. It's so sad, but funny at the same time.
Well, they expected
How
like
this is-
2-hour waits for
Mhm.
the one ride they put in there.
Mhm. And also, it's they're trying to make it their own Disney, right? Their own
Yeah.
Star Wars, right? They don't want it to have anything to do with the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy. It's all what they're doing. That's why you only see Kylo Ren there.
Mhm.
You only see unnamed resistance fighters. Whoa, are they heavy on the stormtroopers though?
did you
Can't swing a dead cat without hitting something stormtrooper in that.
Did you read Ichibaka? Well, not read, but Ichibaka's Disney Star Wars is dumb article where he shows the clip of a sketch that Disney does there. It is mind-numbingly stupid. It makes Chewbacca look like a moron, and Rey is supposed to be this mechanical whiz kid, and all they're doing is going around and ding 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 banging on like a ship or something, trying to figure out what's wrong. It is the dumbest thing. You gotta watch it. I'm like, this is it like, and I think Chewbacca basically tags it with, it makes you wish for holiday special 2. That's how bad it is.
The only reason they're doing that stuff, where they've basically removed all history of Star Wars and put their Star Wars stuff in it, is so they don't have to give George Lucas any money.
Yeah, I'd heard that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
But like, it's such a silly thing to do, right? Like, eventually people want their cake and they want to eat it too, right? Sometimes you have to try to move forward in a reasonable. People don't like change. People don't like, you whip somebody around like that, you're going to give them whiplash. They gave everybody whiplash. We weren't ready for it. We weren't prepared for it. We didn't get to ease into loving these new characters. You tried to force us to do it. I don't want to eat the spinach. It's yucky. I don't like it. No. So I don't know what they thought was going to happen, but now they're not just hurting themselves, they're hurting their employees. These people have families to feed.
It's not so much not liking anything new, because if you look at the expanded universe, there were plenty of new characters introduced, but the difference is they were trilogy characters. Those characters were treated with respect, and then the new ones were brought in to kind of augment the journeys of the original trilogy characters. And that's what Disney failed at. They should have started with the original trilogy characters. Here's where they're at. Slowly introduce new characters, and now by the end of episode 9, now we have a new generation of Star Wars heroes we can grow into and love.
Exactly. But instead they were like, you're going to eat it and you're going to like it. And we were like, I don't even know this chick. I don't even know this chick.
It makes me think of, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it makes me think of when they said that no one could dress up when they went to Galaxy's Edge, because they knew they'd dress up as the original trilogy characters. So they were like, no dressing up, because we don't want Darth Vader. Only Kylo Ren.
Well, I had thought that had more to do with people misinterpreting people as cast members or people as characters.
I don't think so.
Well,
I think it was all about.
I think that's the reason they gave, which is kind of a valid reason, but at the same time, I think part of it is also what Miss said. A lot of people are going to be coming in as original trilogy characters, and like, they want to get as far away from Lucas's Star Wars as they can get.
Because then they don't have to pay him, which is pretty, I think, pretty close to the truth. as you can get. But yeah, they're punishing their employees because they don't know what they're doing. They spent so much money putting this together, making the stupid toys and the costumes that they're selling there, the shitty $200 lightsaber that's just a plastic piece of crap, and the droids.
And you can get better quality sabers for the same price on different websites.
Absolutely. Like, that's what blows my mind, is how they can expect. This was one giant cash grab, was what this was. Everything there is so expensive, and it's for silly stuff. Like, look, if I want blue milk, I got some food dye in the cabinet. I'll go for that. And guess what? It's not going to be soy. Soy? Are you kidding me?
I don't know why they did it.
Literally, it's just laughable. Isn't it laughable? And so now this has been this has gotten so out of hand that they're actually having to jeopardize the well-being of park members, families, of their livelihood. These people rely on these hours. It's Disney. There shouldn't be a more secure job. Are you kidding me right now? There shouldn't be a more secure job than Disney. And you got
at least with Star Wars, you've had 40 plus years of basically loyalty to a franchise. Not just with the people who originally saw it in theaters when it came out in 1977, but those who, like myself, grew up with it because my parents showed it to me.
Mm-hmm.
So you have multiple generations growing up with this franchise.
Yep.
And you're in this situation where now you've just basically screwed over the fan base, and you're wondering why attendance is low, and then punishing your employees.
Well, I mean, like, it's like going to Disneyland and then there's none of the original Disney characters around.
Right.
And there's none of the original Disney anything around. It's just the newer stuff like Coco, and they're more recent films.
Yeah.
And they have nothing from when Disney first started. They don't have any, like, Snow White. They don't have any of that. That's what that is. No one would go to Disneyland if they did that.
Let's just use our imaginations here, and for 1 second, imagine a brand new movie coming out, right? It's Disney and Minnie's son, Maximilian. That's goofy. That's goofy. Hold on. Maestro. I don't know. There's
Morty.
Mortimer's a character too, Tom.
Oh, shit.
So, and their son comes in, and he's had one whole movie, and then after that, they kill Mickey. They take him off of everything. He's gone.
They kill Mickey.
And then even the Walt Disney sculpture standing at the front of the park is no longer holding Mickey's hand. He's holding his son's hand, because this is who we like now. That would never fly. That would never fly.
That old generation of mice.
Screw that mouse. He didn't do nothing to help us.
No, but yeah, it's the same thing. It's if they got rid of all the old stuff and put in some of the new characters from the more recent movies. They got rid of Mickey and Donald Duck and all the other characters, and you never saw them anywhere. Would you go to Disneyland? Would you go to Disneyland for that? I wouldn't. And I don't even go to Disneyland now. Especially for the price that they ask for.
Well, we got a super chat here, and it kind of brings up something I'm going to get into too a little bit. $5 from Bronze Division. The Disney went back with the hack JJ rather than just ripping off the Thrawn trilogy betrays a pathological stupidity.
Yeah.
Well, I got to clear things up you guys said. First of all, just to be fair to Disney, they have never allowed people to come in dressed as anything other than themselves for safety reasons. So that's why they don't allow the costuming. We need to be clear about that. Regardless, the whole George Lucas thing, which we did a video about recently on the main channel, I'm going to simplify that a little bit and put it in this perspective. First of all, George Lucas, and this is from a very reliable source, and we'll get into this more on a roundtable tomorrow. He wanted to give away this Lucasfilm. He didn't want it. And I think part of the reason is because he already knew he was going to get residuals until the day he dies, and then his kids will keep getting residuals till the day they die, probably. So he was not that worried about it, but due to tax reasons, he couldn't just give it to them. And the reasons why what we reported and what Gary reported on and Doomcock and them reported on was viable is because basically it's just like with Marvel and all that kind of stuff. Disney owns Marvel, yeah, but they still have to credit and pay residuals to the creators of certain characters that aren't owned out and out by Marvel, which is very few. Because, Stan Lee was credited with a lot of them. Jack Kirby's credited with some of them. What's his face who did Wolverine is credited for Wolverine and stuff like that. So they always have to pay residuals to those people no matter what. George Lucas happened to have created 90% of the characters that existed before. So that's why he still gets residuals on everything. Regardless, and whether or not Disney's avoiding it so they don't have to pay him or not doesn't really matter, because George Lucas is the single living, he owns more stock in Disney than any other person alive. Period. So he's going to get money no matter what. So, I mean, there's a lot of this that just doesn't really, it's kind of just petty of Disney on their part more than anything. So we'll get into a lot more of that tomorrow. But as far as like the main thing at hand here, Disney should not be dumping employees if everything is so great as they've been boasting. Like they've had this Bloomberg article that just come out, this stuff here talking about them laying off employees, pretending like Galaxy's Edge is some huge success when it's not, when it was nothing but a money pit, and now they got to. This is what happens in any corporation when you sink a bunch of money into something and it fails.
Yeah, and you're
start losing employees. Yeah,
you're cutting hundreds of employees' hours by 10 hours a week. That's insane. But you're running around acting like everything's fine. We're not stupid, and your employees are going to speak out about this. You made some mistakes, Disney. Own it. Just own it, and at least do something to try to mitigate the damage for your employees. You have a lot of parks. You have a lot of different places. Maybe try to do some shifting of things around. And I just think it's a little bit silly on Disney's part. They claim so much to care, but mostly it seems to me like they're just more worried about their image and their reputation being damaged.
Yeah, it's like they screwed themselves over there, because there were so many instances where Bob Iger could have stepped in with the third party media going after fans and everything like that. He could have stepped in and said, "Stop it." Because these are our customers, and he didn't do that. And now they're reaping what they sow. I got to turn my camera off. I got to go check on my dog, but I'll be back.
All right, well, I'll fill in real quick since she's got to dump out real quick. No worries. So yeah, and somebody also brought up, is that why, even though after his death, Stan Lee still gets credit? Yeah, his estate still gets,
Okay, yeah, didn't know that. We need to know stuff.
Well, no, and it's just like really simplified, and some people are like, "Well, I don't believe it. It doesn't make no sense." Well, it does if you know how copyright stuff works, and even though you buy something, you still have to credit the creator. It's just the way it is. Michael S sent us $5. Says hot water at Star Wars Land. Yes, it is. Seems to be that way. They're the Bloomberg, I think, article really blew a lot of this up. I mean, I don't know if one of you guys know what I'm talking about, but the one where they basically said that Star Wars is kind of slipping and not catching on with the kids, not making the money they were hoping. It really kind of opened the floodgates, because Bloomberg's a very prestigious, outlet. And when they do entertainment news, it's a big deal. It's not normal for them to touch on that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, no, I think they're completely 110% correct, though. Parents are washing their hands. And if you think about it, how many people actually stopped and reacted to The Last Jedi? A lot of people defended it, but not because they loved it, but because they liked the ideals and the sort of social justice things it represented, right? They weren't defending a movie, they were defending an ideology. So I just don't think that this particular trilogy has resonated with people at all. If strong feelings are had in any way, it's hatred.
Right, and to also point out, like Bloomberg, the whole thing is they would have given Disney the opportunity to deny any of that crap, and chances are Disney couldn't.
Probably.
So yeah, I don't know if there's anything more you ladies want to say about this subject, or if you wanted to move on to the next one, or
I know we have another article. Unless
Yeah.
I think we've pretty much covered it. I mean, like, I don't think any more needs to be said about how Disney screwed fans over and screwed themselves over in the process.
Tom had his point of personal privilege. He came over with the information.
got to do what I got to do. So, all right. So what are we talking about next? Lady Hulk? Is that what's up next?
yes, I have my She-Hulk article right
She-Hulk,
here.
sorry, not Lady Hulk. She-Hulk.
Yeah.
I'll be upfront. I'm not a huge She-Hulk fan. I know she's popular, so I'm just gonna duck out like I have been, but I'll share the article.
We have a fun little article. I went ahead and shared that in the bottom for you, Tom. I'm gonna go ahead and read it.
Awesome.
Interesting. Mostly so let me preface this. First off, spoilers for Spider-Man Far From Home. If you haven't seen it, now might be a good time to kind of maybe mute or go make a sandwich, or get your lady friend to make a sandwich. We don't mind.
What lady friends make better sandwiches?
We toast them and everything. So potential spoilers for Spider-Man Far From Home coming up if you haven't seen that. And then also this is rumor and speculation. So keep that in mind, guys, as we read through this article. But it is interesting. I do think it's very interesting. So She-Hulk to appear in MCU in Spider-Man 3. So, a new rumor suggests She-Hulk, aka Jennifer Walters, will appear in Marvel Cinematic Universe MCU in the next Spider-Man film. The rumor comes from TVO, from the Lords of the Long Box, who appeared on Jim Mint Collectibles livestream TVO, and states definitively that She-Hulk will appear in the MCU. Warning! Spoilers for Spider-Man Far From Home below. He reveals that the Marvel Studios and Sony were planning to introduce Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, into the MCU to act as Spider-Man's lawyer. Spider-Man needs a lawyer because Jake Gyllenhaal's Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, leaks a doctored video to J. Jonah Jameson, who accuses Spider-Man of murdering him. However, Daredevil is not able to be introduced into the MCU due to the alleged deal Marvel Studios had with Netflix surrounding the use of characters that appeared in the Netflix TV shows. Those characters included Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones. Punisher would later appear in Daredevil Season 2 and receive his own standalone show. Related rumor Netflix contract that restricts appearances confirmed by Marvel's Daredevil star. So TVO states they are going to be using She-Hulk as his lawyer, and he confirms it is Spider-Man's lawyer, saying, "Yeah, Jennifer Walters is a lawyer. That's why the second most famous lawyer in the MCU is Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk. I don't know if she's going to be hulked out yet, but it's definitely going to be Jennifer Walters and eventually become She-Hulk." TVO adds, "That's a great book to have. That's the last big Stan Lee original story, if you think about it." This isn't the first rumor surrounding She-Hulk entering the MCU, and I'm sure it won't be the last. The most recent rumor indicated She-Hulk could appear in an upcoming Disney Plus TV series alongside Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. There was also scuttlebutt that She-Hulk might have appeared in a female-centric, sorry, I'm almost threw up a little bit, female-centric Marvel TV show on ABC. However, ABC passed on the series, which was rumored to feature the A-Force, Lady Liberators, or the Fearless Defenders. She-Hulk led a version of the Lady Liberators in 2008 Hulk comic series. Her team consisted of Invisible Woman, Storm, Valkyrie, Thundra, Spider-Woman, Tigra, Black Widow, and Hellcat. She-Hulk also led the A-Force team, which consisted of a core team of Dazzler, Medusa, Nico Minoru, and Singularity. What do you think about this rumor about She-Hulk joining the MCU Spider-Man 3? Do you want to see Jennifer Walters in the MCU as Peter Parker's lawyer? Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Look, I acknowledge that the character is well loved within the comic book sphere, and I recognize that people like her, right? People like, and it certainly seems to make sense within the sort of grand scheme of things, right? Like, he is going to need a lawyer. But I also am a little sick and tired of everything having to be female.
Well, if they didn't have Matt Murdock tied up in fucking rights over at Netflix, he could have him as a lawyer. But anyway.
True.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a better choice.
I
It's
had to look her up because I'm not really familiar with really Hulk, you know, in general. But it says at some point she becomes part of the A-Force, and that seems to be the direction Marvel is heading with their girl power scene in Endgame. That's the A-Force.
Yeah, of all the female variations of existing male superheroes, I think hers was the least interesting to me.
I think they did it because like they had the Hulk character, and then they were afraid the TV show like the TV studios would come out with their own version of the She-Hulk, so they basically Marvel did it themselves rather than have another entity create that character, because you had the $6 million man and the Bionic Woman. Is what happened basically. So Marvel said, we're going to preempt this and come up with our female version of the Hulk, and that's where She-Hulk came from.
I just don't know why they're going all in on this, right? Like, why are we going all in on this notion that all of them must be females? We must have an entirely female-centric. We never did that with the males. Okay, I granted that it was male heavy. It was very male heavy, right? But they did a good job of making sure that they incorporated Black Widow, making sure that they incorporated Scarlet Witch, right? Like they've had females peppered throughout this since the beginning. And I'm not really sure I understand why they feel like turning this into an entirely female-centric thing is somehow going to be advantageous for them. You're sticking all of your eggs in one basket, and you are doing the same thing that they did with Star Wars Land. You're making an assumption that this is going to work, and you are not hedging your bets. What are you giggling at?
I know, it was the way he put our faces. I did not like that. No! It got really close to my face, like right here. And I was not prepared for it.
Tom's in the back going button, 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 button.
I'm out of Taco Bell. I
push
can't.
the button. Anybody remembers Tiny Toons? You know what? Push the button. Me push the button. Elevator go up. Elevator go down.
Anyway. Yeah, this just not interest me. I don't know. She-Hulk. I never liked the idea of She-Hulk. I was like, she's gonna look freaking weird. And I don't know how she became She-Hulk. I don't know any of the comic stuff about her. I've never wanted to. Never cared.
What I looked up is she became She-Hulk because she had to have a blood transfusion, and the blood match was her cousin Bruce Banner. So she got a little bit of basically like the ability to turn into the Hulk, but she retained her personality. So she didn't like become a brute when she transformed.
So she just turns green?
She becomes strong when she becomes enraged, but it's kind of like Professor Hulk at the end of Endgame. She retains her like demeanor.
See, I quite like that idea. I quite like that idea, the idea of that, and it lends yourself to like a well-spoken, thought out character or whatever. Mainly, I'm just tired of everything being female, and I kind of would have liked to have seen Matt Murdock on the big screen.
Yeah, that would have been fun. Like, Matt Murdock's a good character.
Yeah, I would have preferred to see Daredevil just because I like the character more. But I don't know, you have like them not being able to use the character, and then going with like, I don't know why they went with She-Hulk. I'm pretty sure they could have found another character they had that was a lawyer that's probably better, more popular. But
hell, make a new character.
I don't know. It didn't even have to be a superhero. It could have just been a lawyer. Just
What?
Sorry, I just
Yeah.
saw what Jesse said.
What did he say?
I don't
I
know
didn't
what he
see.
He's hitting on Mara.
Yeah, he's hitting on Mara. The other weird thing about She-Hulk is her and Bruce end up having kids later down the road, and
What? I didn't read that
Yeah.
far into the
They're cousins.
yeah, they have like these weird incestuous cousins, and like Wolverine has to deal with them. It's in the original Old Man Logan story, if I remember right.
That's
Oh,
gross.
God.
That's
Oh.
really gross. It's legal, but it's gross.
Oh my god, I didn't read that far in the article.
Yeah, don't read that far in the article.
No, I'm not.
That's nasty. That's nasty. Okay.
That's nasty. Yeah, but this is all rumor, and hopefully,
Well,
We'll see what happens.
we'll see. I mean, right now, as you said, it's not really come out with any details for the third Spider-Man. So,
Well, and they have some hurdles to jump before they can even get there. The Sony deal with Marvel is expiring, and there's been no word yet about whether or not that's even getting renewed. So it's not like this can't just happen tomorrow, guys. This is a rumor, this is speculation, and there are a lot of things in the way. Now, of course, I think Sony will do it, obviously, because it's completely and utterly advantageous for them to do it. They get to play in Marvel's sandbox for nothing, man. It's just, hey, let's pull a Tom button. Like, they get to have a really great.
My turn to push a button.
So
okay.
I think they'll do it, of course, but this is down the road a ways, I think. Ma?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I Marvel, because like the character itself is not exactly bad to the MCU. It's just with them injecting identity politics, comics going downhill as much as they have. I don't trust them adding any characters at this point without them ruining it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
I hope they'll do well, but I'm not on board with this all female lineup. Doesn't work that way.
I mean, like,
I don't know why they think it's worth it.
I don't know.
It could have something to do. I've been getting it. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say X-Men is supposed to be part of Phase 5, and those were them and Spider-Man were my favorite Marvel characters. And now I don't trust the MCU.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Please don't ruin Rogue. Please don't ruin Rogue.
The only way I would love to see the X-Men come in to the MCU would be for when Rogue owns Captain Marvel. Basically, Rogue absorbs Captain Marvel's powers and becomes Captain Marvel in a way.
And that's how she can fly.
Emo Captain Marvel.
That I would pay to see that, but they're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm. No, they're not. Yeah. Yeah. I don't. The thing is about this stupid woke crap is very anti everything that they seem to believe, and it's getting annoying and it's getting repetitive and stupid, and they're scaring customers away by continuing and making people wary of watching their movies, and they're losing money, and we can't help them because apparently any feedback we give them, we're bigots and horrible people. So why don't we take our bigoted selves and go watch other people's movies? Because apparently you don't want to hear feedback.
That's what I'm doing.
We might as well, because not to like super shift the subject, but if things keep up like this, we're going to be getting sequels for everything. Like, I know we're already getting sequels, but the animated direct-to-movie, the direct-to-home sequels, that's big screen. What? Why? No.
Speaking of sequels.
No. Go ahead.
Can I move into our next topic since we're speaking of sequels?
Go ahead.
There is a rumor that they're going to make a second Aladdin.
Do you know what the sequel was?
Return of Jafar. That's what they're making. Aren't y'all happy?
How well was that received?
Very
Not
well
well.
received.
Not well at all. Okay.
If they get a guy to pretend to be Will Smith for the second one, it'll be perfect.
I love it so much.
But bump.
We want a Class B Will Smith impersonator to play the blue genie, and we want him to sound just a little off.
Just a little bit, just a little off. And we want him to blue to be a little paler.
We want Iago to run around because that's who the movie was about, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
the second movie was about Iago.
You
There's
well, you
not
didn't,
enough
like, pay
Iago in the first one to make this
obviously
work.
you didn't pay attention to Aladdin because it was a Iago star, so it's obvious that was going to be in the sequel, even though he got sucked into the.
But I love.
They really
I
are
love
going to
it.
get Gilbert Godfrey, and he's going to be in the sequel, and he's going to be running around going, "That doesn't look right."
I love the title of this article, though. Good God. Disney's apparently considering a sequel to its Aladdin remake. I like how Aladdin sort of shifted, so it's almost like they're going Aladdin remake.
Mhm.
But good God. This is,
What is?
yeah, fuck. What an original concept. And then the third one, Will Smith will come back.
Yeah,
Into the third movie.
He'll come back begrudgingly and demanding a larger paycheck.
Mhm.
With Lion King 2
To do the
side. They are. They're going to do it. Watch, you wait. And they're going to call it live action.
Let's do a remake of the second Aladdin movie.
You know what? I've decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my otters, right? My little otters that I have over there. And I'm going to learn how to Photoshop better. And I'm just going to put mouths on them, right? And I'm just going to make a movie about otters. And I'm going to put that on my channel. And at least it will be more live action than The Lion King. Because that otter will really be there.
It's real. Yeah.
I really own that otter.
No, they can't do this. They don't have the rights. No, they can't make a second Aladdin. I haven't seen the first one yet. Apparently, it was okay.
I liked it. I did. I'm not going to lie. But no one enjoyed the return of Jafar. It was just Iago screaming at us for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Gilbert Godfrey screaming at us for an hour and a half.
Pretty much.
And then some
That man speak
Robin
in a
Williams
normal
wannabe.
tone. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard him speak in a normal tone.
He's always angry.
Yeah.
He should be the Hulk. He should be She-Hulk.
Slap a wig on Gilbert Godfrey.
Let him be She-Hulk.
Oh God.
Do you want me to go ahead and read the article to everybody?
Yes, read
Go
for
ahead.
the people.
Oh my God, I'm green and I'm a Hulk. I'm a Hulk and I've got purple pants. They're purple. Why are they so fucking purple? To make the green stand out, I guess. That's the only reason, I guess. I don't understand.
Hulk smash!
Hulk smash! Smash it all! Fuck it! I don't know how good Mike Gilbert Gottfried is, but I think it's just a little bit better than Rob's. Just a little bit.
It might be. Hold on. Do button.
Button.
Oh my God. It could be just an hour and a half of Gilbert Godfrey saying Hulk smash. That probably be more enjoyable.
Hulk smash! How many more times I gotta say this?
All right, hold on.
In a blonde wig.
Let me
In
get
a blonde wig? What the hell? I thought this was a guy. Is that why my breasts are so big? Oh my God!
Then have him lawyer it up.
That would explain the she in front of the Hulk.
I think Tom's having too much fun with this.
I'm having fun with it. Damn, Mikey
What
did
it was
it.
just gonna be a thing. I don't know. I give up. Marvel pays me good. I just say the words. Hulk smash!
Oh my god.
He has those
What you
fake,
by Marvel?
Hulk gloves on.
Close.
Can I get a bit of that Hulk fist money? Those look like porn toys, just letting you know.
Let's let Mary read the article, Gilbert.
I was the Argo, you know.
Let me read.
Thank you, Gilbert.
Hold on. I gotta
Back
pull
to
out
you,
my,
Mary.
I gotta pull out my contemptuous voice for this, okay? So good God. Disney's apparently considering a sequel to its Aladdin remake. James Wan adds another movie to his endless list of production credits. Marlon Wayans wants in on a Plastic Man DC movie. Should it ever happen, Zack Snyder shows off a nice camera and some corpses for his Netflix zombie movie. Plus, I don't know if I'm reading the right area. I'm not reading the right area. I'm an idiot. I'm not even reading the right area. Congratulations, everyone! The Disney remake Nightmare has now managed to loop round to direct-to-home video sequels. Speaking of SciWire, production Dan Lin revealed Disney plans to produce a sequel to this year's live-action Aladdin. We'd love to. People clearly love the movie and watched it multiple times, and we get lots of fan letters and people asking us to make Return of Jafar. And I can just tell you that we're in the early stages right now, but we're certainly talking about another movie like with Aladdin. It will not be a straight remake of any movie that's been made before. So we're looking at where's the best way to go with these characters.
How big do you think their nose grew when they said everyone wants us to make a Return of the Jafar?
I don't
The
even
best
know.
way to go with these characters is to leave them in the Disney vaults.
Yes. Yeah. So it's not exactly a long. It's just this is just a rumor, right? But I will say at least they have the good sense to say, hey, probably not a good idea to have Gilbert Gottfried screaming at everybody for an hour and a half. Go ahead.
What?
Thomas.
Are you insane? That's the best thing I've ever heard. My bank account loves it.
Read the super chat, as Gilbert.
Steve Cook gave us $1.99. You cheap bastard. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hulk got small stick. Well, if he's a She-Hulk, then she has no stick. I'm sorry, She. You need to learn the difference between men and women. See, women don't have a stick.
I learned this while reading 50 Shades of Grey.
I learned this while reading 50 Shades of Grey. And I'll tell you now, there's only really like 3 shades of gray. There's light, middle, and dark.
Who's playing? I can hear it echoing.
Yeah, I hear it.
Thank you so much, Steve Cook.
That's my laptop. I had to turn it.
That is because I am Gilbert Gottfried and I'm loud as hell.
Thank you, Chief Cook.
We appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Chief Cook.
So yeah, there's not a whole lot to this rumor. It's just a rumor, but
Yeah.
no. Bad Disney. Bad. No. There you go in a corner and you think about what you've done.
It's like people have been asking us to make Return of Jafar. Why?
No, they
Do
haven't.
you remember
That's a lie.
Return of
That's a
Jafar?
lie from the pit of hell. You're a liar. Back to the pit with you, Satan. You lied.
I tell them
No.
like to present these people. Where are these magical people that are telling you that we're wanting a Return of the Jafar sequel?
I really want to watch a movie and hate myself through the experience.
I've got to go write some letters to Disney about how much people want a Return of Jafar remake with Gilbert Gottfried back in the movie.
Oh, God.
I'll be back later.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Gilbert.
That's all I have on it. Just that they're a bunch of liars. No one asked for this. No one wants it.
No one asked for the Aladdin, or like no one asked for the first Aladdin. You know, they did good, I guess, but I didn't watch it. I don't care to watch it.
I enjoyed it, but look,
Mhm.
there's a level of insanity that when you finally hit it, everyone knows you've gone off the deep end. It's time to go see a doctor, put you back on some meds. We're going to get you the help you need, sweetheart. That's where we're at right now. That's where we are. We need to get Disney some help because clearly things have gone terribly wrong. I don't know how much meth it took to get here, but they've smoked a lot and we're screwed. We're all screwed. This is not where we were supposed to go.
I mean, that's bad enough. That Will Smith's smug looking face right there is bad enough.
I feel like the one teenager at a party where everybody took acid and I'm just rocking in a corner going, I want to go home. I want to go home. That's what I feel.
We're all in the other corners unaware that the other is there.
Yeah. Nope. Everybody else has lost their shit. I want to go home.
Yeah. Disney, please don't do this. Please. Just please. Please. If you're gonna do it like they did in the second one, like I said. Have someone pretend to be Will Smith.
Make it so bad it's funny.
Yeah, make it so bad it's funny. I mean, that's the only way they could pull it off. It's just to remake what happened, but in a funnier way.
Yeah.
Like, make them, like, be self-aware. Like, we know that the sequel was trash, and we're going to make this one trash, but we're going to be self-aware about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have a white guy pretend to be Will Smith.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I love this. In blueface.
Just have Gilbert Gottfried. Just have Gilbert Gottfried running around like a parrot, like the pirate parrot for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
I would do this.
Just have him running around.
Aladdin, Return of Jafar, starring Gilbert Gottfried and Gilbert Gottfried and Gilbert Gottfried.
One of the Blue Man Group.
He plays everybody. Where Gilbert Gottfried just plays everybody. He plays
every
Jasmine,
role.
he plays Aladdin, he plays Genie.
Oh, God. I think I would seriously pay to see that.
Yeah, do that. I mean, seriously, if you're gonna go in this direction, make it hilariously bad. Don't try to make it good.
No.
Now I want Gilbert Gottfried to do that and put it on YouTube.
I will remind Christian Garcia that the Problem Child movies were huge hits for Universal. Huge hits.
All right, well, that's all I got on this.
That's the end of the show, folks. Say goodbye, Gilbert Gottfried.
Goodbye, Gilbert Gottfried. Where's my check?
You'll find it at the bottom of a dumpster outside.
Oh, good.
There's a lady with 3 really long hairs coming out of her chin who will be on 4th Street in the corner.
Oh,
She has a briefcase. You're going to go talk to her and say the words balakazoo. She's going to give you another password. You're going to go 2 more streets down, knock on a door, and they're going to open it just a crack to take a good look at you. Once they realize that it is actually you, they're going to let you in. You're going to go in. Everybody's going to be doing acid.
That's ironically how I got paid for Aladdin 3.
Anywho,
It's not uncommon.
all right. Well, I'm not. I don't have anything else on this.
Okay, ladies, let's tell everybody where they can find you. Mara, why don't we start with you?
Hello, I am Mara Jade. I don't have really any videos uploaded yet on my channel until I can actually afford to get a new laptop and figure out my schedule. Hopefully it'll be in short order. Until then, I basically make beta males cry and feminists curl up in fetal positions on Twitter under OG Mara Jade.
And rightfully so. Yeah. All right. And if you want to check out her channel, the link is in the chat. And of course, our best goes out to Meg. hopefully she's feeling better and she'll be back here next week. Miss, why don't you tell them where they can find you?
Hey guys, I'm Miss Sarcastic Nerd, but you can call me Miss or Miss Sarcastric Nerd, as according to Mary in her spelling of my name. on her modding. I love you, Mary. You can call me Miss. I have a channel if you want to go check that out. Hopefully, when I start getting technological issues resolved, I can start making videos too. Me and Mara in the same boat. Wanting to make videos but not having the ability to do so. It sucks, but I still do have videos if you want to check them out, and you can find me on Twitter.
I'm really sorry.
All right. Mary, Mistress of Mayhem and Ceremonies, please do tell everybody where they can find you and what you're all about.
I fixed it, Miss.
It's fine. That was funny.
Guys, I'm Mary B. I am the Mistress of Mayhem, disruptor of the narrative, and official Whammon card holder. You can find me over on my channel, Mary Mayhem, where we talk about newsy new stuff during the week, and on the weekends we do things like fun things like shenanigans, karaoke, and D&D. We have a lot of fun over there. So yeah, hopefully come by, check me out. Might be worth a visit.
All right. And of course, you can always find me hanging around karaoke and shenanigans from time to time as well. So do check in on that. Well, I want to thank the panel tonight for joining us here on Midnight's Edge. And of course, thank you, all of you out there in the chat, and especially those who have given us super chats. They help keep the lights on and the internet working and all that good stuff. So we could not do this without you. Check out our Patreon. Check out our Subscribe Star. We even have a PayPal in case you want to just send us money directly. That helps. That way you cut out the middleman. And of course, always check out these ladies' channels and say hi to them in the chat or the comments there below. And give them some love in the comments. Let them know how much you love the show. So take care, everybody. And once again, thanks for joining us here on Toxic Femininity here on Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Don't do drugs.
At least don't do all of them. Share some with your friends.
Share.
Yeah.
Going back in the
Sharing
fetal
is
position
caring.
now.
It's a given.
Sharing's-
Bye, guys.